let's keep in mind Wemby is averaging 19, 19, 10, and 10 with over 3 blocks per game. Only 3 rookies in NBA history have done it. David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning, and the one and only Diesel himself, Shaquille O'Neal. So we got to give love where love is due with Wemby, okay? Basically piggybacking off of everything that you just articulated. Here's what I want to tell you that I peel away from it. The last part that you're talking about in terms of how much they wanted. You talked about Embiid. We saw him going for the MVP last year. We see Jokic, right? We're not surprised at his greatness. We understand how phenomenal and great he is. And we don't want to disrespect the Denver Nuggets because that's what we don't need to do. They're the reigning defending NBA champions. And they're actually the favorites to come out of the West with all the noise being made about everybody else. But when you think about what you saw from Jokic, not surprising. When you think about what you saw from Steph Curry, who had a damn good game last night, that's not surprising. I know you were talking about the bigs, but I got to throw a small brother up in there who's the greatest shooter that God ever created. Hey. We can't forget about him. We saw the greatness of Wemby. We saw Brook Lopez make the top 10 for bad reasons. He was number 5 and 4 on the damn list, okay? Well, what happened to him last night, courtesy of Wemby Giannis or Johnson rather. But here's the deal. For me, what I walked away with loving outside of the obvious future greatness of Victor Wembanyama, I walked away with even more appreciation for Giannis. That's what I walked away from. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what basketball is all about. See, this is where, and I say this a lot of times, Molly, when I'm talking about the game. Football, there's so many different components that come into it. Baseball, you could have 8 players show up, but the pitcher got a bad night and ruins everything. All of this other stuff can happen. But in a game of basketball, if you've got a superstar or 2, you literally could sit up there and change things by saying, here's the ball, take me there. And if you're a guy committed to doing that, things can happen. It is one thing for Wembanyama to do what he does. It is another thing entirely for Giannis, who is going to be Giannis, but to be in complete attack mode against this guy. Dunked on him once with the left, tried to get him again, but Wembanyama blocked him, was in complete attack mode. And when you see that, that's what you love and appreciate with the game of basketball. One of the things that I've religiously detested is when you got guys talking and then all of a sudden they encounter one another, but they're defending somebody else. They're going up against somebody else. They're not embracing Wendy and accepting the challenge, at least verbally, and sometimes on the basketball court as well. I didn't see that from Giannis last night. And Giannis reminded us what it's supposed to be about. Yeah, I'm here. I'm a former league MVP, and I'm an NBA champion. But this young buck is coming in here trying to show me what he's got. Let me remind him who the hell I am. And when Giannis said, wait a minute, guess who I am? And that is what you look for from the game of basketball. It is what it's capable of giving, what the sport is capable of giving it to you on a night in, night out basis. And to see guys like that, and you brought up Embiid. Embiid, why do I love Embiid so much? Because he doesn't talk trash about or to people he doesn't have to go against. He talks it about people he knows he's going to go directly up against. And he's like, I'm coming. I'm going to bust your living you know what, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And then sure enough, the competition comes. Giannis don't talk like that, but he plays like that. And that's what I love. That's what we saw last night. And the fact that when Giannis showed up the way that he did shows us what kind of attitude he has. And I'm glad you brought up Chet Holmgren, too, because Chet Holmgren got attitude, y'all. And Oklahoma City's winning. And that brother's contributing to it. Watch him, too, because despite what we're seeing from Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, in some people's eyes, is still a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year honors. And he's another 7-footer.
Wendy, give you the final word here.
And Giannis did it on the second night of a back-to-back. In an era where, not everybody's bringing it all the time. They had a huge, highly contested game in Indiana. They flew down to San Antonio. And Giannis gave that game on the second night of a back-to-back in January because he wanted it. It was the symbolism of everything that is great about the NBA. And here we are in the biggest moments of the football season where we got the national championship coming up and we got the ultimate weekend here of NFL, and those guys stole the show. And that's what makes the NBA great, what we saw last night, because you can see that on a regular Thursday night in January.
You're usually seeing Giannis tower over people. Last night, there was somebody towering over him, and Giannis was attacking like he was small. He was trying to treat him like he was small. You love it.
Absolutely. Quick take on his 20th birthday, Wemby shined, but Giannis got the best of him in a great showing for both bigs. Stephen A., what message did Wemby send to the league last night?
That he is a future star in this league, that he will be there, and he'll be somebody that you will have to contend with for years to come. Whether that the same applies to the San Antonio Spurs team remains to be seen, but Wemby will have something to say about a lot of things going on in the NBA.
Yeah, I think this whole season has been about I am who they said I was.
Yeah.
And the hype was real. Usually in basketball, because my son plays, you get a lot of hype about these young players, and then you go to the gym and you don't see it. You see it with Wemby.
I have to point out this important big-time stat on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Averaging 39.4 points per game this season on 64% shooting with 13 rebounds on the second night of a back-to-back set. And he's playing an average of 37 minutes with no days rest. That is a superstar.
Yeah, unbelievable. We had the fans at home vote last night who they thought had the most impressive night. Was it Jokic, Giannis, or Wemby? The results are in, and Stephen A., unlike your A-list, it's a pretty even Steven here.
See, that's a problem for me.
Why is that?
Because I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is overshadowed by the story as opposed to watching the game.
That's right.
Like and I get it, because we in that culture now where we looking for the new thing to take over. A man just let's not forget what Wemby did was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Giannis put 44
and
points
14
and 14 rebounds.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
And was
in
in
a win.
attack mode.
In a win.
And was in attack mode.
Come on.
Okay,
going
well,
right at
remember,
it.
it's fans.
I
So
know,
they might
I know,
have fans.
I know,
Everybody's
I know.
kind of got their guy, right?
I know.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.